Copy X may look intimidating, but in truth, there's a lot to exploit here that makes his first form a trivial matter. Before we get into the strategy, I must preface that just like most of the bosses in these games, RNG heavily determines how Copy X behaves, in both battles. So you can't rely on any patterns, well, because there aren't any, unless you know how to manipulate the RNG. However, RNG manipulation is reserved for its own video, so I won't get into that here. Just know that the patterns he gives me in the footage here will most likely not be something he gives you. Still, he has the same behavioral tendencies, so the strategy I'm sharing will still work perfectly. Also, you can check the video description for additional information on this boss, as I will do this for all the other following boss guide videos I'll make after this. That way I won't have to cram too much information into the video, and if you really want a more in-depth analysis as to how to fight this boss, you can check that out below. So unlike most bosses, he flinches back from attacks, and this makes comboing him a lot easier than anything else in the game. With this being his main weakness, you can take advantage by pinning him on the nearest wall. You can wail on him with literally any combination of attacks that doesn't trigger a lot of iframes. However, be mindful that he can counter into brief invulnerability after he's flinched a total of 6 times. Interestingly enough though, you can sneak in an extra hit by having a well-timed attack hit him first, then have the second hit flinch him, giving you a total of 7 hits before he counters. His counter count does not go up if he doesn't flinch. You can sneak out an 8th hit as well, though it's extremely frame perfect and not very reliable for practical use. The general game plan is to corner him at all costs, and this is very easy to do considering he loves to fly, slide, and jump toward you a lot. If you really just don't want to be bothered with him, camp out in the corner and he'll eventually corner himself. You know, like that one person in a fighting game that can't quit getting themselves locked down in corner combos. Use his flinching to your advantage. Do not let up on your aggression. Constantly attacking him will give him very little opportunity to do any of his actual threatening attacks. One trick you can abuse is that once you see him take flight, immediately run to a corner, as his dumbass will chase you all the way to your current position. And so let's get into his infamous healing. The main reason why he gets away with healing is because most aren't realizing they're putting him in too long of a period of iframes. He heals at around this point in his HP bar all the time, so when you see the HP drop around this point, do not hit him with charge attacks or any aerial attacks, as they'll trigger too many iframes and you won't be able to hit him in time. Either 2-cycle corner combo kill him so he won't even have a chance to heal, or stick primarily to grounded regular attacks when his HP drops low. Doing it this way will guarantee that you'll hit him out of the heal animation without issue. He will only attempt this once, so once you stop it, you won't have to worry about it again. The hard mode strategy basically allows you to do the same thing, just that you obviously won't be able to do charge attacks and triple slashes or anything else that's limiting on hard mode. Though if you use the shield boomerang exploit, you can cheese him even on hard mode with an easy 2-cycle kill. To learn how to take advantage of the exploit, check the video description for my Zero Series Tech Guide video, and look at the 0-1 section of the guide. Please do not ask me how to perform moves, that guide teaches you how to do all tech like this and how to combo with the triple rod. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of options to work with on the creative side, Good news is that doesn't really affect his difficulty. He's easy if you know what you're doing. You're more or less forced to charge attack him to make the battle go by faster, as there's no conceivable way to combo him. Charge Saber and Buster are the easiest way to go. Technically, Saber and Boomerang are better, but the latter requires more accuracy and timing, so better off just sticking to the Buster as your sub-weapon, while making sure Saber is your primary for damage. As far as dodging his attacks go, it's easier to just run to the opposite end when he fires off his tiny rays. They lock into your current position, so as long as you see the visual cue that he's ready to fire, drop off the vertical platforms immediately, and dash out of range. His laser that erupts flames are also very self-explanatory to dodge. Just make sure you aren't on the stage before they set off. The binding rings he rains down on you are most likely the bane of newer players' existence. If you aren't careful, getting caught in these while off stage will insta-kill you. Though if you mash on the D-pad buttons, you can free yourself almost immediately. You also need to understand how they work. The rings lock down onto your current position per 2 rings. So, if you stand still in one spot, that's where the first 2 rings will land. The 3rd and 4th ring will drop on your next position, so on and so forth with the other rings that follow. So, you can manipulate where they're going, so long as you're attentive. This is especially important when dodging the phase where his platforms are bouncing toward you. If you use the exact same movements shown in the footage, you should have no issues avoiding this attack. Do note that as his health drops below half, these rings will fall at 2 times the speed. His tiny light rays also fire faster. As for hard mode strategy, this actually gets a bit challenging if you're trying to get in consistent and decent damage. The optimal weapon choice here is Triple Rod and Shield Boomerang. The charge attack from the Shield Boomerang is the only charge attack you can use on hard mode, obviously, so it has to be your primary damage dealer. So yeah, all the accurate throws and such are required for best damage. Triple Rod's just there to poke at him from below when he's open, and if you aren't in a favorable position to toss the boomerang. Still, if you want an easier time, just poke at him with the Rod and Saber, though you'll be in for a longer battle.